Okay, so last week we learned how to multiply and divide rational expressions. This week we'll learn how to add and subtract rational expressions. We will explore two different scenarios in this series of 4 videos. One is that we'll look at adding and subtracting rational expressions with like denominators, and then we'll look at adding and subtracting rational expressions with unlike denominators. Now, the good news is that the rules that apply to rational numbers also apply to rational expressions that contain variables. So in this opener, what we're going to do is review how to add and subtract fractions to set the stage for adding and subtracting rational expressions. What I'd like you to do right now is just to pause this video and to perform the indicated operation and then completely simplify your solution. And in a minute, we'll come back and we'll complete these two problems. Okay, so let's look at A. Letter A, it's clear that those two fractions already share a common denominator. So we're just going to add those together by writing the common denominator and then adding the values in the numerator together. So 2 plus 4. So this is going to end up being 6 over 7. Now, letter B, we're asked to subtract 2/3 from 5/12. Now, it's clear that these two fractions don't share a common denominator. So what we need to do is to find a common denominator. Now, to do that, what we're going to be looking for is the least common multiple that's shared between the numbers in the denominators. So what I'm going to do for my first step is I'm actually going to prime factor the denominator. So I'm going to start off with 12. So the prime factorization of 12 is 3 times 4. 3 is a prime number, 4 is not, but 4 is equal to 2 squared. So the prime factorization of 12 is 2 squared times 3. I'm going to look at the second denominator, which is 3, and 3 is already a prime number, so 3 is already prime factored. So now what we need to do is we need to look, grab a different pen color over here real quick, and we need to find the least common multiple that's shared by the two denominators. So if we look, both of the denominators share a factor of 3. So I'm going to start off with that. So the least common multiple is going to be 3. And then if you look, we have this multiple right here that we need to include. So 2 squared, because the second fraction, 2/3, is missing this factor in the denominator. So our least common multiple is going to be 12. So now what we need to do is we need to multiply each of those fractions by a number so we get a common denominator. So in this case, 5 over 12 already has that common denominator of 12, so we're good to go there. 2/3, however, has the factor of 3, but it's missing the 2 squared. So 2 squared is 4, so I'm going to multiply the numerator and denominator by 4. So I'm multiplying 2/3 by 1. So I'm not changing the value of 2/3, I'm just changing the way that it looks. Okay, so now I'm going to rewrite 5/12. And then we're going to subtract 2 times 4 is 8. And then 3 times 4 is 12. So now this problem is looking similar to problem A. Now we have a common denominator, so we're just going to perform that indicated operation of subtraction. I'm going to place this over 12, and then it's going to be 5 minus 8 for our numerator. 5 minus 8 is -3, so we have -3/12. And now we just want to make sure that we simplify this as far as we can. So -3 over 12, -3 and 12 share a common factor of 3. So this is going to simplify down to -1/4. So in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to look at adding and subtracting rational expressions that have the same denominator or have like denominators. And then the videos after that, the 2 videos after that, we're going to look at how we would add or subtract rational expressions with unlike denominators.